Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today I'm going to set up, play and review for the game Sniper Elite, the board game published by Rebellion Unplugged and designed by David Thompson and Roger Tankersley. This is a one versus many again. How do I call this game? Not an escape in a box. That's just what I filmed. This is a hidden movement game. This is a game whereby someone is the sniper and they're looking to ultimately try and make sure that they can complete their two objectives before the time runs out, which is basically when the defenders are trying to deal with them, whilst the defenders again are trying to capture that sniper. So inside the box we have got some solo rules. We'll not be talking to you about those, but crucially there are some various layouts that you can do with that. So very nice inlay going on here too. Inside here we have got a track representing the 10 turns that the various squads relating to the defenders are going to be taking, and then ultimately you've got to complete both of your objectives twice before both those reach 0. So there's various places these go out. The iron cross as they go on their respective locations. It doesn't matter which bases you use as long as you have the iron cross on a certain base on each of the respective colours. So red, black and yellow. So as you can see, you're going to place out the yellow ones over here. And yeah, this is a game that takes, it says about an hour or so, like I think 45 to 75 minutes. But I think it can be a bit shorter, it depends. We are going to have the sniper, which does look very fancy. I recommend this is probably best actually using miniatures over like wooden pawns, etc. And I have zoomed out just because of the size of this map. He can start anywhere, or they can start anywhere you want on the edge of the map. You will not be revealing where it is. There is a pen, which I do find in most of these games, pens aren't necessarily too good in terms of the amount of, I guess, ink that stays dry in them. You're going to player aid for yourself, the sniper, and for the defender. And if you're playing it solo, it's on the reverse side too. So as I mentioned, I have zoomed out. If you do want to zoom in, by all means, please do so. I sleeve these up. Check out my sleeving playlist. Check out my MTL sleeves and also my Mayday sleeves in particular. And there are various maps we can play as launch facility, etc. You're going to play as either the axes over here or the allies. You're playing as obviously the sniper here. We'll go through these cards in a second, but we're just playing with launch facility cards. Let me come on to this now in a second. So what we're going to do is shuffle up these cards, and you are secretly, if you're the sniper, looking at 2 of them. Now the thematic thing on here is it's World War II, and what we're doing is you basically get cards given to the prisoners of war, but you peel back layers and you can see there's certain objectives. Yes, I'm surprised. And how easy it would be to do that and not be caught. But anyway, in this case, as the sniper, again, I can start anywhere on the board. I'm looking to complete 2 objectives. In this case, steal the rocket blueprints. So we're looking for 5 here. I need to go over here and also steal the general's journal, which is number 4. So let's say, again, I'm not telling anybody this. I don't know where I'm going, what I need to be doing. I probably want to start over here. Let's talk to you about more in that second. These cards, again, you can keep off to one side or put them back in the box, but make sure you know that you have those to complete. Then if you happen to be the allies, you are going to be on your first game. I recommend going randomly. So in this case, you've got a medic. When the sniper shoots a soldier in the squad, you may immediately use this action to keep them alive. They remain on the board. This ability does not protect against mines. So they could be playing with this one. You've got this guy, the scout, move a soldier from this officer's squad to any empty space. The chosen soldier must be already on the board. They can't take an action this turn, either before or after being moved. So that's the last one we're going to do is the Jaeger. So when attacking this turn, this officer may target an adjacent space instead of targeting their own. Okay, so there's an example of the various things you have, the extra powers that you have. Each game, again, you can pick what you want to play with. But equally, I, as the sniper, let's say, I get to pick 3 things myself. So I can start off with, again, keep this all hidden. A rock, let's say, move an enemy unit up to 2 spaces. They must be within line of sight to end the movement. So I used that in the last game. I also used, let's double check which one. Yes, this one, sound masking and environmental advantage. Ignore any negative effects from moving 2 or 3 spaces this turn. And lastly, I think I picked another different one, like an S mine. Secretly mark your current space on the hidden board with an X. If an enemy unit ends their movement on this space, they're immediately killed. Reveal this card, remove that unit from the board, and remove the mark. So there we go. Those are 3 cards I'm secretly playing with. I'm shooting them face up to show you. That's something I'm doing. You'll also be using various counters to show that they're moving. So you're having some red, black, and yellow, etc. So now let's talk about the boards. We talked about these hidden boards. We're having this board here. I will have this off to one side. I tend to leave it underneath the table. And in this case, you can see I'll be wanting starting here. And what I can do is move. So what I can do on my turn is three things. I can move up to 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, like say. However, if I move 0 to 1 space, so that's here to here, it's fine. If I move 0 to 2, it's fine too. But if I move 2 or 3 spaces and I end my turn or during my turn or start my turn and I move a total of 2 or 3 spaces, and of course I'm ending up next to one of these enemies, then they are going to be alerted, and that can create noise. That is bad. But sometimes you might want to do it. So my first turn, maybe I just move 2. Again, they're not next to me. That's not a problem. You can see I'm in a white zone. There's a yellow zone. There's a red zone, and there's a black zone. That's important because sometimes they can do a sweep, which basically announces where I am, or a scout, which then lets them know where I'm going to be. So yes, a sweep is the current space and up to 2 matching adjacent spaces. So they can say, are you here? Are you here? Are you here? That kind of stuff. And as you can see, they can only move through certain doors. I can only move through certain locations. As you can see, I'm trying to get to this location here. I'm also trying to reach, obviously, this location as well. So let's now talk about various things I can do as well. Well, as you can see, I've moved. There's another thing I can do, which I can loot. So what I can do in looting is basically landing on a space which is not where my objective is, which enables me to get more cards. Now, that might not be very useful because it's slowing the game down, but sometimes you might be burning through your cards and maybe you want them. You can also get more cards by shooting at the opponents as well. So another thing you're doing in a turn is complete an objective. So to complete an objective, that's instead of looting, that means you can land on a space and say, hey, look, I've just revealed that I've hit card number 4. Let me show it to you. And I've now completed one of my 2 objectives. All their counters will move back up to 10 and it'll start again. Now, we've talked about moving silently, we've talked about moving noisily. You can also shoot. So I could shoot anybody in a straight line. I can shoot this person, I'm outside a building, I'm shooting into a building, massive glass walls throughout, or no glass at all basically, just massive windows. However, I cannot shoot from outside a building, through a building, and hit from the other side. Equally, I cannot shoot from a building into an open space into another building. That's basically all you need to be aware of. Also, you have spaces like this, exclamation marks, which cost you an extra movement to move into them. This is fine, I've moved in here before, because my last 2 objectives was completing these 2. So moved in, moved across, completed it. I've then got revealed, so you do appear on the map, or you'd not normally appear on the map. It's just because, giving an example, so I might move 2 spaces. I might have moved here, I might have moved here, I might have moved here, I might have moved here. They don't know that. I might not even have moved 2 spaces. I've just taken a turn, I've done something, and now they're just wandering around thinking, okay, well, whatever I'm doing, can I be close enough to trigger one of their movements? Can I sweep and hope that obviously they happen to be close to where I'm going to be? Or maybe they've got dogs, which can alert stuff too. So that pretty much covers off the game. In terms of what you're looking to do, you can obviously complete objectives or try and figure out where somebody is. And compared to other escape room in a box games, I've said it again, in terms of other games which happen to be obviously hidden movement, which is a sort of similar premise whereby obviously you don't know everything, I would say that compared to Spec Ops, again, that's really cool. You obviously have cars and stuff that move around. This is very cool too because you've got various abilities, you've got various other cool stuff here. And in terms of shooting, I haven't talked to you about that. You're going to draw stuff from a bag. So I wanted to shoot over here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Then I need to be drawing at least 4 tokens, and I need to be getting 4 aim tokens. For any errata or any updates, please let me know in the comments best on YouTube. And of course, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. But also make sure you check out the comments on YouTube, the description on YouTube for, again, any errata updates too. So in this case, I've got some good aim symbols, but I haven't got enough. In fact, I have 1 noise symbol. 1 noise is not a problem, but if I happen to get a second noise, that is bad, okay? You can also get misfires, etc., which are also going to be a problem. So, in terms of going through this game, like I said, you are looking to sneak around, which leads me on to the review. There is not much shooting I've found in this game. It's mainly about sneaking. In this game here, I didn't need to shoot once. I went in here, completed the objectives, they saw where I was. I then had a rock, I think something it was, to move them over here. I then managed to go over here. I then managed to play my sound masking to move extra speed, which meant they didn't get alerted. And then I managed to shoot into here and complete my second objective. And I didn't need to shoot once. I only shot a couple of times just to try it out. Which leads me on to my review. So my average rating is a 6.4 based on the 2,700 reviews of the board games. Now the review for this one is around a 7, so it's above average, it's very good. I've played many games by David Thompson, in particular all the Undaunted games, which I highly recommend. and other games in this series too, such as General Orders, which at time of recording, I've got the unboxing video. I've not got the full video out. But this one, I just feel it's more of a sneaking than snipering kind of game. I love the sniping element. I just feel that I think I would prefer a bit more shooting if I wanted to do shooting or it was forcing me. And again, if they're in the way, yes, of course he would shoot. I felt my opponent was a decent opponent. I just felt it was tricky, especially if you're on the dark. It's very difficult, you know, to know where to move to. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, there are special abilities. There's an other side of the map. When you do move things along, what they do recommend you do is you do write on and you say, okay, so I've started here or whatever. I've started here, 1, 2, and then I put a 1 next to it to say I've moved once, or either move here 10, and then 10, 9, 8 down to 1, etc. So the board is fine. It's quite a brown board, which for black writing maybe is on purpose because then it's not easy to see that I've marked on it. However, as the sniper, it's a bit difficult to see, to be honest, which is a bit of a problem. I said the pen is a nice thick pen, but it isn't very good. It's quite a weak amount of ink that comes out of there too. I hopefully feel I have covered most of the stuff off, but I mentioned in terms of hitting your target, when you reveal your position, you are drawing 2 more noise tokens as well, obviously revealing your position, so it's very thematic like that. And yes, you can get a misfire if you draw 5 or more combined recoil and noise tokens. So these are recoil tokens here, the yellow ones. As I mentioned, shooting is quite self-explanatory. You need to make sure you get enough hits, so maybe get close enough. And in terms of just reminding you what you're doing in a turn as the sniper, you can shoot, you can loot, and you can complete an objective. Those are 3 things, and you can do in any order. You could loot and then move, or whatever it might want to be. But again, moving and playing a loadout card, these are loadout cards by the way, and additional action is the 3 things you can do. So you could load out, I play a card, and then you can move, and then the additional action again is either shoot, loot, or complete an objective. Those are your options. So you can't overshoot on your first turn, so I could move, play an objective, and then shoot, or move, shoot, and then play an objective card, sorry, a loadout card. For some reason, loadout, maybe it's a World War II thing. I don't really get that terminology, but it's fine. Card sleeving size, by the way, these are 63.88mm cards, and they fit nicely. Again, if you want to play this solo, there's some other cards here too. You might want to check my solo playlist. But here, all defenders search, so something else that's going to occur that you need to deal with. I might be tempted to try this out solo. I think it might be a bit more of an interesting experience, actually. But again, you can play this 1 versus many, i.e. 1 against 1, and they're controlling all 9. You can play with 2 against 1, but they also recommend 3 against 1. So either 3 against 1 or 1 against 1. But again, compared to other hidden movement games, the admin is good compared to Fury of Dracula, regardless of the 4 editions I've played. But I just feel this, as great as it looks fantastic. I think that it's more sneaking than sniping, and that's a slight shame. I like the idea of you're not sure what you're going to hit. I think I might prefer it if there was a bit more control over worrying that you might get noise. I'm aware that you want to get closer because you don't want to draw 2 noise tokens, and you're always going to have to draw 1, which is the gap between you and the soldier, and 1 that the space is in. So you're always drawing 2 minimum. You can shoot in the space that you're in as well, though. So I guess 1 is possible, but I just feel that, yeah, it's more sneaking than it is sniping, which is the biggest thing that I would say which holds me back from it. But apart from that, it was very enjoyable to play, and I do recommend it. It doesn't take too long, and it is fairly straightforward. It didn't take too much kind of clarification. The rulebook's fine as well. The only downside is they talk about launch facility. You always wonder which map to use, and then it says, oh, at some point, yeah, use launch facility for the first game. It wasn't until way into the game that we found on page 14 that it tells you what the launch facility looks like, and that's the trouble. Yes, you might think that's a launch facility, but there's a missile on the other one which you also launch. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the game. That has been Sniper Elite, the board game, and that is by Rebellion Unplugged. Please check obviously in their other stuff out as well. I know they've got a couple of cool looking games that I'd like to talk to you about at some point. Aside from that, this is from UKGE. Check out my UKGE playlist. But for now, back to the table.